Hi guys, today's lesson is called Be Faithful with What You Got. And our sticky statement is be faithful with less and let God bless. Have you ever watched or performed in a talent show? At a school talent show, children go on stage to show their special abilities. Some may sing, dance, or play a musical instrument. What is the most impressive talent you have seen someone else show off? What is a talent you have? People can have some pretty amazing talents. How many of you have ever watched a video online of people putting their talents on display? Let's take a look at a video of some kids doing some pretty amazing stuff.
Look out of the window with all my heart, but I'll find love at the same sort and fall apart. Maybe we can be something new. Are you ready for us? 'Cause I'm ready for you. Are you ready for us? We can be something new. Are you ready for us? 'Cause I'm ready for you. Are you ready for us to be something new? We'll follow where the wind blows and see the heights. Late walks to let go, taking the sights. Maybe we can be something new. Are you ready for us? 'Cause I'm ready for you. Are you ready for us? We can be something new. Are you ready for us? 'Cause I'm ready for you. Are you ready for us to be something new? All honesty, we're slipping off slowly, so hold on to me. All honesty, we're slipping off slowly, so hold on to me. We can be something. Are you ready for us? 'Cause I'm ready for you. Are you ready for us? We can be something new. Are you ready for us? Oh, 'cause I'm ready for you. Ready for you. Are you ready for us? We can be something new. Are you ready for us? Are you ready for us? We can be something new. Are you ready for us? Are you ready for us? We can be something new. All honesty, we're slipping off slowly, so hold on to me. All honesty, we're slipping off slowly, so hold on to me. We can be something. Are you ready for us? 'Cause I'm ready for you. Are you ready for us? We can be something new. Are you ready for us? Oh, 'cause I'm ready for you. Ready for you. Are you ready for us? We can be something new. Are you ready for us? Are you ready for us? We can be something new. Are you ready for us? Are you ready for us? We can be something new.
That was pretty awesome stuff, wasn't it? All those kids are pretty talented. God has gifted each one of us with talents, and we'll talk about those talents a bit later in the lesson. First, we're going to read a story from the Bible about some men who were given talents, but talents they were given were not the type of talents we have been talking about. Today's lesson is the fourth lesson, a four-part series called Snapshots of Character. Each of the lessons in this series is designed to help develop godly character in our lives. The first two lessons in this series dealt with kindness, and the second two dealt with faithfulness. Today's lesson on faithfulness is from the Bible and comes from the book of Matthew. Faithfulness is the quality of being trustworthy or reliable. Today we will tell you a story Jesus told while he was teaching his followers. You can find this parable in Matthew 25:14 through 30 in your Bible. Jesus started his story by telling about a rich man who was leaving his home to go on a long journey. Before he left, he entrusted some of his wealth to 3 of his servants. He gave them a specific number of talents. Like we said earlier, the talents were not like the other talents we talked about a minute ago. In biblical times, a talent was a type of money that had great value. To help us understand Jesus' story, I would have asked for 3 volunteers, but since we don't have it, I'll just improvise. The first servant was given 5 talents. When he received his 5 talents, he set off and used the talents to earn more talents. So he went to do some work. The second man was given 2 talents. Second servant was given 2 talents. And he too went about working to earn more money with the money he was given. So the second servant went to do some work too. The third was given 1 talent. And he did something different with his talent. Let's read Matthew 25:18. Matthew 25:18 reads, "But he that had received 1 went and digged in the earth and hid his Lord's money." So there is a set up for Jesus' story. All 3 servants were entrusted with some of their boss's money. 2 of them went to work, and the third one hid it so he wouldn't lose it. After a long while, the rich man returned from his journey and asked his servants to meet with him. The first servant showed up. Listen to what happened to the 5 talents he had. Matthew 25:20 reads, "And so he had received 5 talents, came and brought other 5 talents, saying, Lord, thou deliverest unto me 5 talents. Behold, I have gained beside them 5 talents more." So if we count the first servant's coins, he had 5 at first, and he earned 5 more. So that would be 10 talents. Correct. And let's read what the master said. 25:21 reads, "His Lord said unto him, Well done, thou good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of thy Lord." Master was happy the servant was faithful with what he had been given. The second servant came to report to the master. Listen to what happened to the 2 talents he had. 25:22 reads, "He also that had received 2 talents came and said, Lord, thou deliverest unto me 2 talents. Behold, I have gained 2 other talents besides them." All right, so the servant had 2 talents and he doubled it. So now he has 4 talents. Let's read the master's response. 25:23 reads, "His Lord said unto him, Well done, good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of thy Lord." The servant came before the master with the same 1 coin he received. So how much did he gain? 1. Just 1? Is what the master said. What the third servant told his master. 25:24 and 25. "And then he which had received the 1 talent came and said, Lord, I knew thee that thou art an hard man, reaping where thou hast not sown, and gathering where thou hast not strawed. And I was afraid, and went and hid thy talent in the earth. Lo, there thou hast that is thine." The servant was actually blaming the master for his unfaithfulness. He used the fact that the master was a tough businessman as an excuse for not wanting to use the talent. It seemed he was afraid that if he didn't gain more money, he would be in trouble. But the master was more disappointed with his laziness and lack of faithfulness. The master rightly became angry and punished the servant for his unfaithfulness. He took the money that the third servant had been given and passed it to the more trustworthy servant. He knew the first servant would be faithful with it. In addition, the third servant was actually forced to leave. He would no longer work for the master. Who remembers what the master gave the servant before he left on his trip? The master gave the three servants not just the talent, but also a responsibility. They were to take care of the master's wealth while he was gone and use the money more wisely. Remember, too, that the master did not give each servant the same amount of talents, but the master was satisfied with both the first two servants because they used what they had been given wisely. They were blessed, not because they had more to begin with. They were blessed because they were faithful with what they had been given. Faithfulness was the key. It was more important than the amount they were given and the amount they earned. When the master returned, the first two servants were happy to see him and reported all they had done with the talents they were given. Who remembers what the master said to them? Right. The master was pleased with their faithfulness and granted them even more responsibility. There was a blessing for their faithfulness and a lesson to be learned. Be faithful with less and let God bless. So what have you been given? Just like the master in the story, God has given things to you that you are responsible for and things to take care for until he returns. You may not have a bunch of money, but God has given each of us physical talents and special abilities. We should be faithful with what we have been given, no matter what talent or ability we have. Remember, faithfulness is the quality of being trustworthy or reliable. It is our job to be faithful with less and let God bless. It pleases God when you are faithful with what you have been given. As you show faithfulness and grow in being faithful, you have opportunities to serve God in bigger ways. Will you be trustworthy and reliable with the abilities you have? Will you use them for God's glory? So how can you use your abilities for God? Let's brainstorm a little bit. What are some abilities you have? Think about it. And how can you use that ability for God? But what if you didn't have any of these talents that you thought about? What can you do? Let's think about it for a minute. Do you have the ability to speak? How can you faithfully use the voice you have been given so God gets the glory? You could tell someone about Jesus, speak only kind words, compliment others, be an encourager. Have the ability to use your hands. How can you faithfully use your hands so God gets the glory? Help out around the house, help out around the church, make a nice card for someone, bake cookies for someone. Here are some other ideas. Will you choose to be faithful in your loving family? Will you choose to honor and obey your parents? Will you faithfully show kindness to your siblings? Will you choose to be faithful in attending church and Olympians? Will you be faithful in reading and memorizing scripture? Will you be faithful to do your very best on your schoolwork? Will you be faithful in encouraging your teammates? Will you be faithful to help your neighbors in need? Will you be faithful with less and let God bless? Now that you have an idea of ways to be faithful, it's time to make a choice. Will you be faithful and diligent like the first two servants, or will you be unfaithful and irresponsible like the third servant? Do you know how to become a faithful person? Becoming faithful happens one small action at a time. You can't just become faithful overnight. Faithfulness is a result of choosing to do the faithful thing each time over time. Faithfulness is a choice. Will you take the time right now to make that choice? Take a moment to stop and talk to God about being faithful. Ask Him to help you to be dependable son, daughter, brother, sister, student, teammate, and citizen. Be faithful with less and let God bless. Now on the screen, I'm going to put up a talent card, and I want you to think about 3 talents. One has the word family, the second has the word church, and the third has the word community. This week on the back of that paper, or since you don't have it in person, just write it down. Write how you are faithful in the responsibility God has given you in each of these areas. I'll say it again. Family, church, and community. So think about how you are faithful during this week. Review questions. What word is defined as the quality of being trustworthy or reliable? Faithfulness. Who taught the parable of the talents? Jesus. What did the master give the servants before he left for his trip? He gave them money and the responsibility to take care of his property. What was a talent in Bible times? That's right, money. Did the master give each servant the same amount of talents? No, he did not. How many talents did the master give each servant? Right, the first servant was given 5, the second servant was given 2, and the third was given 1. Why was the master happy with the first and second servant when he returned? They were faithful with what they were given. Why was the master angry with the third servant? He hid the money instead of working with it. Why did Jesus tell his story? To teach the people to be faithful with what they have been given. True or false? Being faithful in little things helps us to be faithful in bigger things. True. That is the end of today's lesson. I hope that you learned something about being faithful and that you remember to be faithful. So be faithful with what you have and let God bless. And remember the sticky statement this week. Be faithful with less and let God bless. Hope that you have a great, safe, and blessed week.